the last few chapters, and it's not because of timing, it's just because my heart's not there yet.
To be honest, I can't read the last few pages. I'm not there yet. It's just emotionally, because once this book is done, it's done.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, you know, everybody thinks we should all mourn a certain way.
Right.
Okay, well, until you walk a mile in someone else's shoes, you know, don't lecture people.
100%. He would walk through the door, drop his bags, Daddy's home, take his phone, Friday night, Shabbat Shalom, throw it in the...
Shabbat Shalom, Daddy's home. He threw in his phone. Glad we cleared that up. Charlie's phone was off on Saturdays. Bro was like a rapper, sliding in like Usher. Daddy's home, Shabbat Shalom.
How do you go on a full promotional run for a book you now say you still can't finish reading? And if the story keeps changing on something that simple, then what else around this book might be shifting too? That's the contradiction people keep coming back to. Erika Kirk has been publicly pushing Charlie Kirk's book as deeply personal and massively important, but in the clips laid out here, her story about how much she actually read does not stay the same. First, it sounds like she read the whole thing. Then it becomes the last few pages she can't get through. Later, it turns into the last few chapters. And that's where the suspicion starts, because once the basic timeline moves, people stop focusing on the book and start focusing on the gaps.
On Friday night, when he would get home from work, he would turn off his phone and he would shove it in the junk drawer and he would say, Shabbat Shalom.
I asked Grok, do Christians say Shabbat Shalom? And the response was no. Christians typically do not say Shabbat Shalom. Most Christians observe Sunday as the Lord's Day in commemoration of Jesus' resurrection, and they do not have a comparable Sabbath greeting.
To be fair, grief is messy. People don't mourn in some perfect, polished way, and nobody from the outside gets to dictate how someone should process loss. But here's the part people miss. Critics are not just talking about grief, they're talking about consistency. If the public story around the book keeps changing, then the audience naturally starts wondering whether the rollout is emotional, strategic, or both. Then there's the detail that keeps getting repeated like it's the centerpiece of everything, the Shabbat Shalom story. According to Erika's retelling, Charlie would come home Friday night, drop his bags, turn off his phone, toss it in the junk drawer, and say Shabbat Shalom. It's vivid, it sticks in your head. But that's also exactly why people are zeroing in on it. Why does this one story keep getting emphasized over and over while other parts of the book stay blurry? And once people noticed that repetition, the story itself started feeling less like a memory and more like a message.
And he knew that this was something that the world needed to hear, and God did too. And he put it on his heart, and Charlie wrote it. And I know that it's going to change and impact millions of lives.
That's when the bigger questions begin. According to your outline, Erika spent months promoting what she described as the original version of a book Charlie allegedly finished shortly before his DED in September 2025. The title being pushed was Stop in the Name of God, Why Honoring the Sabbath Will Transform Your Life. But even that is disputed in your material, because critics are asking whether that was really Charlie's chosen final title or something selected later by others around the project. That has not been proven as fact. But then
take his phone Friday night, Shabbat Shalom, throw it in the junk drawer, and he would come in, open the junk drawer. Everyone has a junk drawer. Open the junk drawer, said Shabbat Shalom, put it in there, turn the phone off, slam the door. And on Friday night, when he would get home from work, he would turn off his phone and he would shove it in the junk drawer and he would say Shabbat Shalom, shove it in the drawer.
I gotta be careful the way I say this. They're going to try to ethnically cleanse Gaza.
Then you look at the timing, and that's where the tension spikes. Because right as clips of Charlie criticizing Israel reportedly started getting shared more widely, the Shabbat Shalom narrative also got louder. Critics are using that overlap to argue that a certain image of Charlie may have been pushed harder after his D.Ed than before it. That is an allegation, not a court-proven fact, but it's the allegation driving this entire controversy. The moment people suspect someone's legacy is being repackaged, every interview starts sounding different. Interview, and the timeline issue only makes that worse. In your outline, Erika says Charlie finished the book in June or July 2025, but Charlie reportedly said in August.
Did you get to read it?
When?
Yeah.
As much as I can, driving into the office or...
No, but I mean, was it written in its entirety before Charlie died?
Yes.
It was. Okay.
Yes, it was. He finished writing this, I believe, in June or July of this year.
So you had read it? And now
But to read it in a book format and not an email format that he would send me is
something.
night and day difference. Yeah.
What are the pages that are folded
The
over?
one
as
that
well?
all of them are amazing, but the one that I wanted to read, all of them are amazing, but all of them are amazing.
Again, I read the whole thing. You know, and
I'll be honest, I
absorbed-
can't read the last few pages. I'm not there yet. It's just emotionally, because
I
once this
understand.
book is done, it's done.
August 2025 that he was still writing it. Maybe there's an innocent explanation. Maybe finished meant draft done and writing meant revising. That's possible, but if that explanation exists, it has not landed clearly in the material you gave me. So instead, what people see is another contradiction, and once there are multiple contradictions, doubt spreads fast. That's also why the reading question matters so much. In one version, Erika gives the impression she read the entire thing. In another, she says she can't read the last few pages. Then later, it becomes the last few chapters. Critics are now asking a blunt question. Did she actually read the book she was promoting, or was she repeating the same approved story around it? That does not automatically prove deception, but it absolutely feeds suspicion. And that's where this gets messy.
Maybe we should also ask a question. Is the media totally presenting the truth when it comes to Israel? Just a question, that maybe we shouldn't believe everything the media says.
Then comes the religious angle, which is where this story gets even more explosive. Your outline argues that Shabbat Shalom is not typically a phrase most Christians use in the way it's being presented here. Critics are pointing to that and asking whether the phrase feels strangely deliberate, almost too symbolic. Of course, uncommon family habits do exist, so that alone proves nothing. But when people are already questioning the reading claims, the title, and the timeline, an unusual repeated phrase starts to feel less accidental and more curated. And once that idea takes hold, the question underneath everything gets louder. Was the book being presented exactly as Charlie intended, or was it being filtered through someone else's priorities after his D.ed? That is still a dispute, not a proven fact, but it is the central suspicion behind this entire narrative, because if supporters believe Charlie stood for one message, and critics believe the public-facing version now pushes another, then the fight is no longer about one phrase. It's about who gets to define the final version of him.
It's evil. Charlie and I have always been very clear on our stance. Israel, Jewish people. Charlie always would say very clearly, Jew hate was brain rot. He would always say it.
By contrasting Erika's reported framing with Charlie's own recorded words. According to the material you gave me, there are clips where Charlie said Christians should not defend everything the Israeli government does, and that loyalty belongs to Jesus Christ alone. That's a huge contrast, and critics are using it to argue that Charlie's actual public message sounded different from the one now being promoted in his name. Again, that is a dispute over interpretation and emphasis, not something proven in court. But here's the part people can't ignore. Legacy battles are often won by repetition, not truth.
Jews have a target on their back. Charlie believed, as do I, that Jews were God's chosen people.
According to Candace, Turning Point allegedly deleted several episodes of Charlie's show after his D.ed, including episodes where he reportedly warned about Christian spaces being influenced by people or groups who do not believe in Jesus. If true, that would be massive, but it remains an allegation as presented here, and it should be treated that way. Still, even as an allegation, it hits hard because it fits the broader fear critics already have, that parts of Charlie's message may
should not defend everything that the Israeli government does. Period. You are loyal to one thing only. You are loyal to Jesus Christ. And that is it. That is your standard.
Actually, I want all people to come to Christ.
You want all people to come to Christ?
Yes.
Even my Jewish family members. You want us to come to Christ?
Yes, I hope you accept Yeshua as the Lord and Savior, because Christ is King.
Have been softened, redirected, or hidden after he was gone. You also have Pastor Rob McCoy's remarks as presented in the outline saying Charlie believed Jewish people were God's chosen people. Critics immediately challenged that too, asking where Charlie said those exact words on camera. And that challenge matters, because the same pattern keeps repeating. What is documented and what is being attributed after the fact? Supporters may say these statements reflect Charlie's real beliefs. Critics may say they are selective or exaggerated. That dispute is still alive. But when every side is fighting over what Charlie really meant, the public starts wondering whether they are being shown the full picture at all.
I truly believe that the Lord uses everything. And so for me, what I see that as opportunity.
By this point, the controversy is not about one slip-up. It's about accumulation. The changing story about reading the book, the conflicting timeline over when it was finished, the non-stop return to the Shabbat Shalom line, the contrast between Charlie's own Christ-centered remarks and the way others now describe him, the allegation that old episodes were deleted. Each piece alone might be explained away. Together, they create the feeling that something bigger is being contested behind the scenes. And that's why this story won't die down. When someone with a huge...
Like, we're learning a lot about how a lot of money has been put behind these Judeo-Christian programs, which was something that I would speak about with Charlie, because I do think the evangelical community is feeling that. And let me know if you agree that people are starting to wonder, like, why does my pastor? And again, it's not every pastor, but it's too many pastors get up on a stage and preach about Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson. That is leading to broader questions.
Audience D.ES, the fight over memory starts immediately. What did they really believe? What did they really want to say next? Which unfinished project reflects them? And which version reflects the people left behind? That struggle can turn grief into power very fast. So where does that leave this book? Surrounded by questions. Was this really the exact version Charlie wanted released? Was the title truly his? Did Erika read the man?
So that's all pretty amazing evidence, not just intra-biblical evidence, but extra-biblical evidence that Jesus Christ was a real person. He lived a perfect life. He was crucified, died, and rose on the
manuscript the way she first seemed to claim? Is the Shabbat Shalom story a genuine personal memory? Or has it become a repeated symbol for a larger agenda critics say is being pushed too hard? None of that is fully resolved here, and maybe that's exactly why the story keeps growing. So what do you think people are actually watching unfold here? Imperfect grief in public, or a disputed legacy being rewritten one interview at a time?